Alright, in a similar way, we're going to have rules for lenses. They're very similar. One parallel to the axis through the focal point. Two through the focal point, parallel to the axis. Three through the center of the lens. This is a little bit different. The first two are the same, but through the center of the lens, unrefracted, unbent, straight through. I'll show you what that means. Alright, first one is parallel, and then through the focal point. That's number one. Number two, through the focal point, and then parallel to the axis. I know then that my object is going to be here, or my image rather. It's going to look like this. It's inverted. Appears to be smaller. It's real. Let's go ahead and draw on that third ray right through the center of the lens, unbent. So I have a ray that starts up here, goes all the way through. I'm sort of messed up there at the end. Alright, that's number three. They all cross at the same point. Real image, inverted, smaller. Here my object's at the focal point, so you can imagine what it's going to be. Going to be no image at all. Parallel through the focal point. And then through the center of the lens. I can't draw the second one because it's at the focal point. Those two rays are parallel, so there's no image. In fact, you know, I could draw in any number. I mean, there aren't really rules, but look, I could draw in another ray here, and it would also be parallel. All those rays are going to be parallel to one another. No image. And so these questions are moot. This was ray number one, and this is ray number three. The red one isn't ray number two. I was just drawing it as just sort of an extra ray. All right, this one's a little trickier. Parallel to the axis and through the focal point. Now through the focal point, that's number one, and parallel to the axis. So I'm going to draw my ray such that if I were to trace it back, it will go to the focal point, and then it goes parallel to the axis. That's ray number two. All right, notice that these two rays are divergent, so I need to trace back these for my virtual rays. I'm going to have a virtual image. My virtual image is going to be right about there. I can draw another ray through the center of the lens and then trace it back. Shows me where it is. This is ray number three. One more. Parallel to the axis through the focal point. This is probably the hardest of all of them. It sort of changes up a bit. Parallel to the axis. And now I'm going to go through the focal point, but I have to go through the focal point on the left-hand side. This is a diverging lens, so it's going to cause my rays to diverge like this, such that if I were to trace them back, they would go through the focal point like that. And I've drawn the virtual ray already. That is the ray, the refracted ray traced back. This is number one. Number two is through the focal point and parallel to the axis. But now I'm going to draw it through the focal point on the right-hand side. Draw a ray such that if I were to trace it forward, it would go through the focal point. And now it goes parallel to the axis after it goes through the lens. I'm going to trace back the virtual ray, and then it tells me that my image is going to be right here, so it's going to look something like this. Then I can do one more ray just through the center of the lens. It's going to look like this. This is number 3. This is number 2 right here. Let's see, this is a virtual image. It's upright and it's smaller. I don't know if I did this up here. That was a virtual, upright, bigger image. That's the end.